So in previous lecture we have covered the if else statement, a sequential statement. Now we are going to see various applications of this if else statement in our today's session. So today we are going to write a VHDL code for JK flip flop, D flip flop, and D for T flip flop. So this will try to understand how to create a flip flop design using this if else statement. So let's start. So we will start again with the basics of truth table of the JK flip flop. So everyone know JK flip flop is built from the RS latch. So I will recommend, if you want to understand the complete implementation of this JK flip flop using RS latch, just go back and watch our video where I have covered sequential circuit with examples. So that video contains the detailed information of JK flip flop, detailed information of how this RS latch is generated, how these outputs are coming, how these previous invalid conditions are coming. So it's better to understand theory there. So here today I am just covering the major part that is required to write a VHDL code. Okay, so as we said, this is a JK flip flop and it depends on the clock of our signal. So here we are taking a clock as a rising edge clock. So whenever there is a rising edge of this clock, then it will check the inputs. So to write a VHDL code, what are the things required? We required a clock. We need to detect the clock. So first condition I am writing here, detect the rising edge of the clock signal. Okay, then first highest priority goes to detect the rising edge, then second, as per the J and K input conditions, generate a Q output. Okay, so let us try how to detect this. First of all, the question arises how to detect this rising edge in the VHDL. So there is a attribute in VHDL called as a tick event. Tick event. So using this attribute, we can detect the rising edge using if statement like this. If I am given clock signal as if clock tick event, I am writing a statement if clock tick event and clock is equal to 1, then so this statement will detect the rising edge of the clock. Please try to understand how it is detecting. So this clock tick event, this is an attribute, it will check the event on this clock signal. So this clock signal we are declaring as an input and we are checking the event. So there are two types of event. One is either a rising edge or other one is either the falling edge. So 1 down to 0. So there are two events. One is rising edge, other one is the falling edge. So this tick event will detect rising edge as well as the falling edge. But consequently, what we are doing the ANDing operation and saying that clock tick event, the event should occur and clock should be 1. That means we have to maintain the clock 1. Yes. So in which condition it maintains clock 1? It maintains clock 1 during the rising edge. Okay, so there is a event 0 to 1 and clock is equal to maintains 1. So that means this detects the rising edge. Now in case if we want to detect the falling edge, what will do the statement? The statement will be like this: if clock tick event there is a change and clock should be 0, so in that case it will detect the falling edge of the clock. So this is very important, very important concept in writing a VHDL code for the flip flops. Okay, so once clock is detected, so based on this, if J is equal to 0, Q is equal to 0, we are maintaining Q is equal to previous value of Q. So Q is equal to Q. Then if 0 1, it is 0, when 1 0 it is 1, but when it is 1 1, if J and K is equal to 1 1, q is equal to not of q. Okay, so for writing a VHDL code using this for the JK flip flop, what we are doing, what are the inputs we required? Okay, so we'll draw a entity section over here. So what are the things we require? Definitely a clock, then J input, K input, and here Q output. So but here the condition is Q is equal to Q, so this Q we are declaring as in as well as out. So just for our understanding, there are multiple ways. Otherwise you can declare internal temp signal, then that temp signal can be assigned to the queue. So there are different ways to write a VHDL code. So we will write as per the truth table, so for our better understanding. So for using temp also we can write, or we can take an internal variable temporary that has to be assigned the values, and then that temporary value assigned is assigned further assigned to the output queue. So we'll avoid that confusion. We'll take directly JK as an input, clock as an input, and Q as an output. Okay, now next, D flip flop. So D flip flop is again very straightforward. D flip flop is again very straightforward. So whenever there is a rising edge, now you people tell me how to detect the rising edge. So to detect the rising edge, there is a statement we need to write in VHDL. If this is a positive edge, then we are going to write if clock tick event and clock is equal to 1. I am repeating this again and again for a better understanding. So this will detect the rising edge of the clock. Once this clock is there, and if clock is there, then this Q will follow the value, whatever the value of D. So whatever the value of D it is 0, 1, it will follow as it is. Okay, if it is 1, then it is 1. If it is 0, if it is don't care, it will follow don't care on the case of rising edge. If it is high impedance, it will follow high impedance in case of rise. But if it is a falling edge, in case of falling edge, it will retain the previous value. It will retain the previous value. So D flip flop can be implemented using ZK flip flop like this additional combination circuit. So for that also we are going to write a VHDL code. Okay. So in D flip flop, first of all we have to detect the rising edge and then assign Q is equal to D. And if. Okay. Now for the T flip flop, again we have to see the truth table. So in T flip flop, again it is designed from the JK flip flop where J and K input are shorted and connected permanent to the logic 1. So in this case, this Q output keep toggling. In this case, Q output will keep toggling. Okay. So again here, to detect the rising edge of the clock, we have to write a statement if clock tick event and clock equal to 1. It will detect the rising edge. Then we have to check the condition. Then we have to check if T is equal to 0. Then what we have to do? We have to maintain Q is equal to Q. So here again we are taking Q as a in out, this as a in, this as a in. Okay. Similarly, if T is equal to 0, Q is equal to Q, else in else condition Q is equal to not of Q, then end if. So this is something like code structure for our T flip flop. So let's go back in ISC and try to write a VHDL code for this JK flip flop, D flip flop, T flip flop, and very interesting. Let's check it simulation. So through simulation we can understand it very easily. Okay, so just go back. So I'm opening the ISC. So as usual, again we have to follow the same steps: file, new project. So I am giving the name JK underscore T underscore T underscore flip flop. So all these flip flops we are writing in a single code. I am here today. I am going to show you how to write a JK, D and T in a single file. Okay. So let's begin. So then add the source file, VHDL module, JK underscore D underscore T underscore flip flop. Next. Okay. So let us start with JK inputs. So for JK, how many inputs we require? JK clock. Okay, so for all the flip-flops we required a clock. So first of all, declare the clock. Here I am not considering for the reset preset condition, so that we will cover in our future lectures. So let us focus on just a simple design. Then input J comma K are the input for JK input. Then here output we have to take Q, but here we are going to design a multiple flip-flops in a single program. So I will just give the name Q output of, or I will write JQ. JK flip-flops, I will write other way, JK flip-flops Q output. Okay, so here out, then D, for D flip-flop I am taking D as a input, output is D underscore Q. So D flip-flops Q output. Similarly here T as a input and T underscore Q as a output. So here we have to declare its direction. So TQ is output, DQ is again output, and JKQ is again output. So these are the many signals required. So next, finish. So as usual, the library declaration. Now here entity declaration. So entity, we have take a common clock for all the flip-flops. So JK input, this is JKQ output, D input, DQ output, T input, TQ output. So let's begin to write a program. So here we are going to use a process statement. So I am giving a label for process statement JK flip-flop. So process, then after process it comes the keyword, sensitivity list. So in sensitivity list it will come input signal like clock. So we are keeping the clock only because everything depends on the clock. Then keyword begin, then our if statement come, if then. Okay, so first of all, in any flip-flop we have to detect the rising edge of the clock. So for that we have to write if clock tick event, and so here it detects the, first of all it detects the event. Event means either the change from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0. And if clock is equal to 1, that means okay, it will give an error. That means what it will do, it will detect, I am just write a comment, detecting a rising edge of the clock. Okay, now if now rising edge detected, now further we have to add the conditions of J and K truth table. So what are the conditions? Now here if J is equal to 0, K is equal to 0, it has to maintain the previous value of output Q. So here we have taken a output Q as a JKQ. So let's write it. If then, I'm just completing it, if J is equal to 0 and K also equal to 0, then what K is equal to, so it is a conditional statement, right? If conditional statement, then we have to write JK underscore Q, sorry, yeah, but here we have to declare it as in out. So I will declare it, I will go back and declare it. So JK underscore Q is equal to JK underscore Q. Try to understand. So here it will, I will just write a comment again here for better understanding. It will retain a previous value of output Q. So in this case, previous value of JK underscore Q, previous value of our flip-flop output Q. So here JK we need to declare as in out for better understanding, as well as we can assign for simulation, we can assign the initial value is to 0. So all flip-flops we are keeping as a reset for initial value. So we can assign the initial value using this variable assignment, because right now in our code we are not using a reset and preset condition. So that's what I am assigning here, initial values to logic 0. Okay, okay. So here first condition over, Now for second condition, now here we have to write else if. Okay, so it's a nested if else if. Now if j is equal to 0 and k is equal to 1, so q output is again when j is equal to 0, q is equal to j is equal to 0, k is equal to 1, 0 1, output is always 0, so make it 0. So this is q is equal to 0. Now control C, control V. If j is equal to 1 and k is equal to 0, in that case q is equal to, what is the value of output? Q is equal to 1. So jk underscore q as I am assigning to logic 1. And the last condition, now else. Now else means if j is equal to 1 and k is equal to 1. We have covered j is equal to 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and now last condition, when it is a 1, 1, it will toggle. So output q, so jk underscore q is equal to jk underscore q, it's not. So not of jk underscore q, so it indicates toggle condition. Okay. So like this, now we have completed. Now we have to terminate the if statement. So this first if statement we have to terminate here. So I am writing end if, then the clock, whatever the age we have detected, that also we have to end if, and finally end the process. End the process. Okay. So this completes our, okay, we'll check the syntax later on. So this completes our first jk flip-flop design. Okay, else if else, end if, this end if, end process, clock begin. Okay, oh, this using giving a label we have to give like this. Okay, now I'm just writing a process for the, again I am writing a new process for the T flip-flop, sorry, for the D flip-flop. Let us complete for the D flip-flop. So for D flip-flop, so that sort, as I said, process is a concurrent statement, but inside the process statements are executed sequentially. So I am writing another one process for a D flip-flop, and where in D flip-flop output, if clock is detected, output q is equal to D. So I am just writing here d underscore q is equal to d underscore q is equal, that is d, and then end if, then end process, end process. Okay, so this completes our D flip-flop design. So in on the rising edge of the clock, whatever the input we are passing to output, if it is not clock is there, it will retain the previous value d underscore q. Now remaining last process or last flip-flop pending is a T flip-flop. Control V. So I am writing a process for a T flip-flop. So again here, if clock tick event and clock equal to 1, then detecting a rising edge of the clock. Now here only two conditions. If t is equal to 0, what is the condition? If t is equal to 0, sorry, if t is equal to 0, it retains the previous value of q. It retains the previous value of q. So here tq is equal to tq. Got it? tq is equal to tq, else, so here only a single bit combination, so I am just removing other condition, else tq is not of tq is not of, so here toggle condition, right? Previous value of output q. Okay, so here if t is equal to 0, it retains the previous value, else if t is equal to 1, it keep toggling. Okay, so let's save it, let's save our design. So in a single program we have written three process, first process for jk, second process for D flip-flop, and third process for the T flip-flop. So let's check the syntax. If anything is there, we can correct it, and then we'll go for the simulation. So simulation is very interesting in this design. Oh, oh, maybe JK of mode out. JK. Oh, yeah, sorry. Here I have to declare as a in out. Sorry. This should be in. Okay. So clock is in, JK is in out, D is in, D. Okay, perfect. Just check the syntax. Hopefully it should compile. Okay. Simulate it. Now we are going to simulate the all these three flip-flops. Okay. Open the iSIM. Okay, now our iSIM simulator open. So let's restart it. So I'm giving a little bit different signal assignment. So let us be careful while observing this. So clock, we have to assign clock by force clock. Now here I am starting with the logic 0. So my clock will start with logic 0. Then the trailing edge will be 1. And I am keeping a period of 100 nanosecond. 100 nanosecond, apply. Okay. Now for now to assign this J and K values, we'll also to generate different combination of this JK like 0 0 0 1 1 0. So we are assigning some random values. So to create that random number, I'm just assigning to him, instead of assigning constant, I'm assigning a clock but with different combinations. So let's see 1 0. Then here I am creating a clock period little bit odd. So I am creating a clock period of, let us say, 200 nanosecond. Okay, so after running you can understand it better. So I am assigning J 1 0 200 nanosecond. Similarly Q force clock, Q also 1 tab 0. Here I am creating Q as a something odd, 350. Okay, 350 320. I will give 320 nanosecond, but here I will change the duty cycle to some 70%. Okay, I forget to change duty cycle for J input, so let's change it again. So J again, force clock 1 0, and duty cycle here maintain is as a 30. So a different combinations automatically it will generate. So every time no need to assign the logic 1 0 1 0. Then D input. So D also I will randomly create like input signal 1 0 with duty cycle for D also I will make it as a 200, sorry, 70% duty cycle, and the clock period I am maintaining as a again 200 nanosecond. Similarly for T input also I am assigning the input combinations as a clock 1 0. Then here also duty cycle I am keeping as it is 50%, but period I am keeping as a 250 nanosecond. Okay, so let's say apply. Okay, now run it for the 100 nanosecond. Okay, just run it. Okay, now on the rising edge, let's see one by one. Okay, if J is equal to 1, K is equal to 1, oh, this JQ is not assigned to 0. Okay, it will create an issue. Oh, I forget. Sorry. So we can assign it, but this is a mistake. So every output I am keeping as a 0. Okay, then again I need to relaunch it. Sorry. Relaunch. Okay, so whatever the changes we have done there, automatically it will come here. Okay, relaunch. Okay, we'll first of all check it whether everything is, why it is not taking JK. It's now JKQ output 0, DK output 0, and TQ output also 0. Okay, now it is okay. Now let's force the clock. I'm forcing clock 1 0 100 nanosecond. Then fastly I will assign to J as also clock force clock, but with different combination. Duty cycle J has a duty cycle 30%, total period 200 nanosecond. K again clock 70% duty cycle, okay, with 320 nanosecond time period. Force clock for D 10, duty cycle 70% and the 200 nanosecond period. Apply OK, and last D input again force clock 10, 50% and 250 nanosecond. I'm just rechecking the clock, so I have to start with 0, 1 and with 100 nanosecond. Okay, so let's run it for 100 nanosecond. Now observe it. Yes, perfectly right. So as per our program, we have designed all the flip-flops on the rising edge. So all the flip-flops we have written on the rising edge and the rising edge. So we have to observe the outputs on rising edge. So let's see, if J is equal to 1, K is equal to on rising edge, the output of JK flip-flop toggles. So here you can check, here output is toggling, here output is toggling, instead of here previous is 0, next value is 1. As well, if D is equal to 1, whatever the value of D, it passes to the output Q. Okay, so whatever the value of D, it is 1, so it is passes to the output 1. As well as if T is equal to 1, TQ, in case of T flip-flop, it is toggling. So let's run for some more time. Now on the rising edge, now here in JK, J is equal to 0, K is equal to 1, so output is 0, so it is becoming 0 here. Now D is 0, so DQ also become 0, and here T is equal to 0, in T flip-flop it retains the previous value, so the previous value of TQ is 1, now also it is 1. Okay, now on the next rising edge, now here J is equal to 1, K is equal to 0, so JK output is 1. Have you understood? Now here on the rising edge, this D is equal to 1, so DQ output is again 1, so it is changing from logic 0 to logic 1. Again here T becomes logic 1, so it will start toggling on the next, from the next rising edge. So still here value is 0, so it is not changed. So come back again here on the next rising edge. Now here check, J is equal to 0, K is equal to 1, so immediately JK output becomes 0, it follows the J. Now here D is 0, so on this rising edge it becomes 0. Here T is equal to 1, on this rising edge T is equal to 1, so it keep toggling. So like this we can check the various, anywhere we can check the combination. So I am just running randomly and we'll check on any rising edge. Let's see here. On this rising edge, J is 0, K is 1, so output JK should be 0. Now here D is 0, so definitely output of D also DQ again 0. Because of this 1, it is changing, but it applies its toggling on the next falling edge. Okay, on the rising edge, sorry, not falling edge. Then let's see, as well as we can measure the duty cycle. So I think, hello friends, I think we have understood this simulation. So if you do by yourself, definitely you can understand in a better way. So like this we can do the simulation of JK flip-flop, D flip-flop and the T flip-flop. I hope you understood this very important concept of flip-flop. So keep watching the videos. In next videos we are going to cover synchronous D flip-flop, asynchronous D flip-flop, and there we will understand how this reset come into the picture. Thank you.